The world that I was born into in 1929 was very different from today. It was thought that you met someone, got married, had children, and settled down. If you weren't married by the time you were 24, you were on the shelf. I met a nice young man when I was 15 and he was 19 years old, stationed away from home in the RAF during World War II. And we kept in touch with letters to each other. Although I liked him, I was still at school and studying, and I was meeting and going out with other boys. We started going steady just after my 18th birthday, when he was demobbed from the RAF, and I realised how much I really liked him. He took me home to meet his parents, and we discovered that his mother's family and my father's family lived in the same tenement building in the East End of London during their childhood. In fact, their front doors faced each other. His mother was a lovely lady too, everything my mother wasn't to me, so I was hooked from the first meeting. Although there was no talk of marriage at that time, when I told Dennis that I was going to college to qualify to be a school teacher, he told me he wasn't prepared to wait for me to complete a college course. There was no thought that you could marry and continue education in 1948. So I gave up my place at college, and we eventually married in June 1950. And had a love that lasted for over 60 years. Life is not easy, you have to work at it. We started our journey as a twosome, then came the children, with all the trials and tribulations of bringing up two children. Philip was just 3 months old when he had a hernia operation in Great Ormond Street Hospital. But there was no staying with your child in those days. Can you imagine leaving your new baby in the hospital and going home to an empty house? Then there was the year of 1959, when Dennis awoke in severe pain one morning and eventually had 5 major surgeries to remove stones from both kidneys and additional surgeries when they discovered the cause. This was the year I learned to drive. The car was standing in the driveway and I was catching buses to the hospital. So between surgeries, Dennis taught me to drive. I was aged 29. Then the hell of bringing up teenagers when the world was changing around you. The time of the Beatles, of the hippies, long hair, and children contradicting their parents who were not really world wise. Dennis always encouraged me to do things. So at 40 years old, I went to college to qualify as a social worker and worked for 17 years for the local authority. Next, the empty nest. Kids falling in love, coping with their problems and marriages. Caring for 2 sets of parents as they're growing older and seeing to all their needs. Then comes retirement. If you are still in love, this is wonderful because you can do things together and not hate being with each other all day long. We enjoyed holidays together, going on lots of cruises, and visiting our daughter, who had married an American and had 3 children and was living in Santa Monica. And we crossed the Atlantic so many times to see our grandchildren and never missed out on important dates in their lives. On our 50th wedding anniversary, in the year 2000, all our family came to England to celebrate with us. We had lived in the same house in England for over 50 years. And when the children asked us to come and live here, it was a big decision to make. But we came in 2003, and our lives were even happier here together with the wonderful weather, so many activities to enjoy together, and the joy of being close to our wonderful family. When Dennis died of terminal cancer in August 2010, I found some notes in a drawer where he'd written that he knew he was going to marry me when he first met me when I was 15. For many years, we had exchanged the same Valentine card and given it to each other. But on February the 14th, 2011, I found the card. He had written inside on an old piece of cardboard, "You will never know who this card is from, but I am a special admirer of you. Please stay as my Valentine." This was a voice from the grave telling me of his love.